Hello friends, this is Worm, and it's not Monday, but we're still going to do an episode of Exotic Recrafting today. This is a series where we talk about every single weak, underused, or straight up bad exotic in Destiny 2, talk about how we can make them better, and just kind of make them more viable in content. And today, we're going to be talking about arguably the worst exotic glaive in the game, which is Edge of Intent. Now, before we talk, I do want to remind y'all, I will be live every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 9 p.m. Central, so feel free to come on by, just chat with us, stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, with that out of the way, Edge of Intent. And I really have to come out and say this exotic is not bad. It's not a bad exotic. It is just so far outshined by other options that we have, such as Lumina, such as No Hesitation, such as Speaker's Sight. And some of the changes that I have here today are meant to kind of remedy this and fix, you know, some of the issues that this has versus these other exotics and legendary piece of equipment. Now let's talk about what Edge of Intent does. When you have full shield energy, you can press and hold your reload button to convert your next shot into a healing turret. The healing turret will last, I believe, 7 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And it will shoot out a healing orb every like 2 to 3 seconds. I'm not exactly sure on the times right now. I probably should have checked that. But anyways, it'll shoot out a healing orb every 2 to 3 seconds that will find a nearby ally and heal them. And depending on your your aspects, it will give them restoration ×1 or restoration ×2, as well as cure. Now, this, when it launched, wasn't really a horrible exotic. Because it was the only healing exotic that we had aside from Lumina. Even when it launched, though, Lumina was still the better option. And the reason why I think that Lumina, No Hesitation, and Speaker's Sight are all just better options. When it comes to Lumina and Speaker's Sight, the healing is more immediate and when you need it. Okay, if I have Lumina, for example, and I've got my Noble rounds, if somebody is injured, I can immediately shoot them and start their health regeneration. With Edge of Intent, even if it's charged up and ready to go, like, I have to shoot the orb, and then the orb has to track that person, and by then your teammate could be dead. So the first thing that I would change about Edge of Intent is give it a healing pulse whenever it actually lands. This is the exact same thing with a healing grenade, even a Speaker's Sight healing grenade. Whenever that turret shot, whatever you want to call it, hits the ground, it needs to create a healing burst around it, just like a Speaker's Sight grenade. If you do this, then I could see it having more viability, because in the gameplay, actually in the gameplay you're watching in the background here, I do shoot it a couple times at an ally, because I know that it doesn't do that, but I'm just kind of hoping that maybe it does, but it doesn't heal them. And then my ally, actually, I think there's one point in the gameplay where my ally dies because I try to shoot a healing turret at them, and it doesn't actually spawn the Seeker in time to heal them, and they die. So giving it that healing ability on contact with the environment would be a wonderful way to start the change for this. But I do have some other things, because I think even if you do that, it's still competing with Speaker's Sight, and Speaker's Sight is arguably better, just because it's a lot more passive. You can use, you know, other weapons. You can use things like No Hesitation or Lumina with it, and with Edge of Intent, you kind of have to commit yourself to using, okay, I'm going to use Edge of Intent. It's a special weapon, you know, so I've got to manage my ammo and stuff like that. So when I think of Edge of Intent as being a support weapon, I think that Edge of Intent would be wonderful as almost a passive play exotic weapon. Okay, so Lumina and No Hesitation, you have to actively play with those. You have to actually actively use those weapons to heal your allies. You know, you shoot them, you know, you have to be near them so that they'll, you know, the bullets will connect with them and stuff like that. But with Edge of Intent, I think that you can give it more of a passive play. You know, shoot a healing turret down, switch to your other weapon, and the healing turret will do its thing. And all of these next changes are going to be building into that idea as being a passive support weapon. So for the first thing I would do, increase the duration that the turret lasts in the world to like 20 seconds. Like I said, I think it currently lasts like 7 to 10 seconds. It needs to last at least 20 seconds. I would say 25 seconds if you really wanted to go hard, Bungie, but at least 20 seconds. That way, number one, it's out there for longer. It has more opportunities to heal targets. Like, your allies can see, oh, hey, the turret is over here. So, like, you know, if I go close to it, it'll, you know, send a thing out towards me and you know, heal me. But in its current state, I mean, by the time that Edge of Intent shot lands, it's gone before your allies can even know it's there. And if you're not in comms, which I think most players nowadays really aren't playing much content in comms, it's just going to kind of go to waste. So I think increasing the duration for that turret would be substantial for this. But along with that, I think that the turret needs to create those seekers much faster than what it does currently. Of course, again, I'm going to compare Edge of Intent to Speaker's Sight a lot. And Edge of Intent and Speaker's Sight are very similar. They shoot the little Heelys out at about the same speed. But why would I use Edge of Intent when I could just use Speaker's Sight? And yes, you could theoretically use them both at the same time, but I think Edge of Intent needs to have a leg up on its competition. And so a leg up that it could have is, instead of spawning a seeker every like 3 seconds or 2 seconds, whatever it is, decrease that to every 1 second, maybe a second and a half. But I think every 1 second, every second that passes, it's going to shoot out a seeker that's going to go and heal an ally. Also, when it comes to those seekers, I think that the turret should be shooting out more than just 1 at a time. I think it should shoot out probably 3 at a time. So every second it's shooting out 3 seekers that will go off, find allies, and heal those allies. Then it also lasts for 20 seconds. I mean, if you have somebody using an Edge of Intent on your team, you could shoot that down and potentially like just keep your team passively alive and healing, so that you can put on whatever other weapon you want to use. You know, if you have a scout rifle and you're playing, a range support or something like that, you can do that. But with these changes, I think you'd also have to increase the radius at which it actually tracks targets, because currently Edge of Intent, if no allies are within like 10 to 12 meters, I think that's the radius on it, it won't shoot out seekers. I think that radius needs to be greatly increased, probably to like 45 to 50 meters. That would be a huge area of effect. Again, the healing turret will passively be shooting these orbs out. They'll find your allies, they'll hit them, they'll refresh their durations on their restoration ×2, or they'll heal them. Like, again, it needs to be a really strong passive play. It needs to account for the fact that it is a special weapon. And I think that doing this, giving it a huge radius, shooting out 3 seekers at a time, giving it, making more seekers faster, would all help the, Edge of Intent be a lot more suitable for support play. But now I do have another change here. I think also just to build into the idea of support, just like with Lumina, just like with No Hesitation, you're not getting much use out of those if you're not playing with allies. With this weapon, I think that when you heal allies, it should grant you shield energy. I think that would be awesome, so that you could like basically passively play with Edge of Intent. Like, you just have it equipped, you have it in your hand, you can use the shield to its full potential because it's healing your allies, and every time it heals an ally, maybe it gives you like 15%. Right, it gives you like 15% of your shield energy back, which isn't like a ton, but at the same time, if you build into like Lucent Blades and you have, Lucent Blades on, it could grant you more energy. Plus, like, with it happening every 1 second, 3 or 2 or 3 times, like, you will keep that shield energy constantly topped off. And I'm not opposed to the whole switching over the fire mode, with the full shield energy. Like, that's kind of one of the trade-offs that it has. But I think that giving it the ability to generate shield energy just for healing allies would tremendously help to kind of keep that loop alive, keep that healing turret loop alive. But yeah, those are my ideas for Edge of Intent. One more time, we have, of course, the healing pulse on contact. That is a huge one. Like, that is an absolute must if you ever want to see Edge of Intent be even remotely viable in any level of content. But also giving the turret a longer duration, having it create those seekers faster, creating multiple seekers at a time, and of course shield energy generation when you heal allies. All of these things I think would make Edge of Intent actually a really strong support exotic, and it would make it worth using as not only your exotic but your support weapon of choice. But let me know your thoughts on Edge of Intent. Let me know your thoughts on my ideas. If you like my ideas, yeah, some of that stuff in the comment. Of course, don't forget, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central, we will be live streaming here on YouTube. So come over and watch those. With that being said, drop a like, helps the channel a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, conversations, debates, discussions, all that good stuff. And do me a favor, watch the videos you see here on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.